Arsenal defender Gabriel Magalhaes has pulled out of the Brazilian national team due to injury and is being replaced by Juventus centre-back Gleison Bremer. This is massive, massive news if this is a big, big injury. We're going to jump straight into it and talk about how this could potentially cost Arsenal the Premier League trophy. If you're new to the channel, please do go down and smash that like button. If you haven't already, please do hit that subscribe button. We are slowly approaching 3,000 subscribers. Now, the news come out this morning, various different reports. There was a rumor, I believe, last night, but it was actually a legitimate report come out. And it says, and I quote, Arsenal defender withdraws from Brazilian national team, announced from the Brazilian Federation, and will be replaced by Gleison Bremer. And it is yet to be announced the severity of the injury. If this is absolutely legit and it is a genuine injury, this is all hypothetical. If it is a big, big injury, this could be massive for Arsenal's remaining title race. You think about last season when they lost the likes of Saliba, it cost Arsenal the title. 94% champions or whatever it was, 91% champions. When Saliba got injured and they ended up with Rob Holding against Manchester City, which is their next fixture, it cost them. I'm a big believer that out of the two, I actually think Gabriel is very underrated out of him and Saliba. And I think in terms of the way they play, I actually think he's more important. He comes up with a lot of big goals. Off the top of my head, I don't know another centre-back that is scored more goals in recent time and actually scored more goals for Arsenal from defence. So it's absolutely massive. When you look at their upcoming fixtures, they've got the biggest game of the season up next, Manchester City away at the Etihad. Now, of course, Arsenal didn't play the weekend just gone. Manchester City won their FA Cup game. Man City have played more games because they've gone further in domestic competitions. Arsenal should be not in theory the fitter team, but they should be. Gabriel out is absolutely huge. It really is. Absolutely huge. Such an important figure. They signed him and everyone was kind of, not really convinced. But Arteta, fair play. You have to call a spade and give props where props is due. He has 100% improved Gabriel, and now he looks like he's going to be out. He might come back, shortly after the international break and be fit and firing. But if he is injured and this is legit, and it could be for a long period of time, let's say 2, 4, 6 weeks, I think that costs Arsenal the title. I don't know if Kivior comes in at centre-back and they move Zinchenko back to left-back. I don't think that's as strong as what it is currently right now. I'm a big believer of if it's not broken, don't fix it. Arsenal defensively have been the best team in the Premier League. They've got the most clean sheets. They've conceded the least amount of goals. They are top of the Premier League for a reason. They've only scored 24 goals in all competitions. And one of the reasons for that is for Ben White, Gabriel, Saliba, and Kiwior, or whoever plays at left-back, Zinchenko. I think Arsenal have kind of pinned down the three positions of that defense very, very well. They just need to sort out that left-back position. But if he's not available, I don't think they beat City now. If Gabriel is not in that team, I think City beat them. You think last year, City scored 4 goals against Arsenal last year and were 3-0 up within the hour. If Gabriel's not there and Kiwior comes in, I think fair play. He's done a relatively good job at left back, and I don't really think you can ask for more. But it's night and day in terms of the quality difference. Gabriel wins most of his headers. He's very quick. You can't really play a ball over the top because their centre backs get there before you. He's a very opposing dominant threat when he's on the ball. He's a very good passer. They can play it out from the back. They keep their defensive line. He's very stable. Arsenal, when they play, they know when to play the high line and when not to play the high line. And so far this season, Gabriel's been a very, very important part of that. And if you look at they've still got to play the likes of Manchester United. They've still got to play the likes of Tottenham. They've still got to play the likes of Manchester City, Brighton, Villa, and of course, home and away fixture against Bayern Munich. If Gabriel is not there, I am going to say it right now. If Gabriel is not there, they don't beat Man City, and I think Bayern Munich beat them over 2 legs. Now, of course, Like I said earlier, we don't know the severity of the injury. He could be back in a couple of weeks. He could be back in a few days. It could just be caution. It could be Arteta saying, "Look, we don't want to. He's not fully fit. Let's pull him out of the squad." We've seen it loads of times. Jose Mourinho did it with Tottenham, where he didn't want Harry Kane to be played every minute of every game. We know how important Harry Kane is to England. We know how important Harry Kane is to Tottenham. But when you look at Brazil's national team, they've actually got England on Saturday, the 23rd of March at 7 p.m. And then they've got another game on the 26th of March against Spain. And then before you know it, we are back in the Premier League. Both those games are friendlies. If it was a big injury, I don't think he would have gone to the Brazilian camp. I think he would have already been pulled out. I don't know if the Brazil camp have had any training sessions yet, but this could be a game changer. You know, you look at Liverpool, they're out of the FA Cup now. They can focus all their resources onto the Premier League and the Europa League. The same as Man City, apart from they've got FA Cup. Liverpool have had big injuries and they've managed to deal with it. Jota, Nunes, Salah, Trent, Alisson. Arsenal have been very privileged yet to have an injury, a big injury to their 11. I know people are going to say, Henry, what about Timber? Timber wasn't really in their 11. It was more squad depth in terms of Timber and slowly implementing him into that team. They haven't really had any big injuries to Odegaard, you know, to Raya, to White, to Saliba, to Gabriel, to Rice. Everyone's kind of, to Martinelli to a degree, everyone's kind of been relatively wrapped up in cotton wool and put in bubble wrap and managed out throughout games. And fortunately for them, they haven't had any big injuries. If they do have Gabriel out, honestly, guys, I think this genuinely could be the difference between winning the Premier League title and not. It's such fine margins. We're talking about goal difference separated Manchester City and Arsenal, and then you're 1 point off of Liverpool. It's absolutely massive. You know, Arsenal have won 8 Premier League games on the bounce and are flying right now. It pains me to say I flipping hate them more than anyone. But you've got to call a good football team a good football team. They got through to the next round of the Champions League. They won 8 games on the bounce. Man City up next, 31st of March. Going to be an unbelievable fixture, that is. And then they've got Luton, Brighton, Bayern Munich, Villa, Bayern Munich, Wolves. You've got to have Gabriel fit for that. That could be the difference between winning those games and not. It's similar to, I actually think Gabriel now, the level of importance to Gabriel and Saliba is more important than anyone. More important than Saka and Martinelli. More important than Odegaard. More important than Raya. Because they don't have the depth, guys. You look at their, you know, they can bring in, worst comes to worst, Trossard, Reece Nelson, Jesus, Havertz, Nketiah. Who are they going to bring in if Gabriel or Saliba get injured? The drop-off is mind-blowing. It really is. Like I said, if this is legit and he is out for a long period of time, curtains. Absolute curtains. Curtain Albion, mate. Curtain Albion. I don't see Arsenal winning the league if Gabriel is injured. I'm going to say it right now. See you in the next ones. I'm out.